right. Make sure we're unmuted. Let's make sure the podcast is running. We got the video fired up. My bad, freaks. Didn't realize that the channels had gotten deactivated last night. But we're back up now. We're back up now. The cameras have been messed with. What the hell's happened last night? What the hell did this late night crew do? What
was like a freaky Thursday.
I guess they had a freaky Thursday, but it is making for a freaky Friday for sure. Like this camera now, that was good. Now it's cutting off half my head. The other one's pointing down. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I'll have to raise it up at some point.
Yeah, we'll have to fix it. It's tough. It's two-man family here,
flex
Bubba.
With your shirt off over here, John.
Flex with my shirt off?
Yeah. If it's pointing down towards the chest.
What the hell do you want me to do that for?
Anyways, I digress.
Okay. All right, Big Papa, you want to see my flex? I'll hit my flex for you. I'll hit that flex. It's all good. If you missed the first half of the hour on video stream, I got pulled over by the police today, but they let me go. I appreciate him. Bubba hit his leg workout. I cried a lot during Freakier Friday. And now we're going to talk some ball. Tennessee's got their first big scrimmage, their first big showcase, the first big test, first big challenge, first big opportunity for these quarterbacks to set themselves apart tomorrow. Joey Aguilar, Jake Merklinger, they'll get some actual game type of reps. The throwing on air, the quarterback skeleton, as Cody called it, that kind of goes away and it becomes an actual game type of setup, right? It becomes an actual test to see how you can run a real offense against a real defense. Now, I don't think that, they'll be out there hitting too hard, the quarterbacks at least. Like, I don't think they'll be out there live, but it'll be a real test where you have to manage an offense, you have to manage a team as if it was a real game situation.
I can hear it now. Hit somebody.
Hit somebody. It's time. Go out there. Do something. I feel you. I hope that's the case. But, now these quarterbacks will be put to the test in terms of running an actual team. I don't think we'll come out of this weekend still thinking it's exactly 50-50 or 60-40 or close. I do think you'll have some real noted and acknowledged separation. I think really from the get-go.
You think there's going to be a starter officially?
No, not officially. But I do think you'll have some separation where the reporters who cover it will come out and say, "Hey, I think you'll really start noticing one guy get talked up more than the other." That's what I think. I think you'll finally start seeing a guy start going first in drills pretty much all the time. I think that kind of ends. You know what I mean? Like the going back and forth and letting guys rotate, get as many, reps as the first team as possible. I think that becomes the new goal. Joey Aguilar, Jake Merklinger, one of them will start to separate themselves, outperform the other, and will be first in all the drills moving forward. But I don't think you'll get an official declaration, of course, of who the starting quarterback is. I don't think that. But I do think you'll have some separation. I think it'll be really telling on who gets to run with the first-team offense from the get-go. Like, are they going to legit, just go out there and have two separate teams and put the two quarterbacks on two separate teams? Or are you going to try to go out there and rotate and have a quarterback, have both quarterbacks play with the same players to really test who outperformed the other? You know what I mean? Because I feel like I would prefer to have that.
What if they just mix up both starters and bench guys on each respective team?
See, I don't want that. I don't want.
Because I don't think you learn a lot from that.
No, yeah. At that point, you could be like, well, so and so got stuck with these receivers, and these guys weren't ready. These guys weren't up to par. I don't want that. In my perfect world, and maybe this is how they'll do it. In my perfect world, it'll be like, hey, the first team offense against the first team defense, and we are going to put in a backup here and there, of course. Sure, you can rotate and try a couple different options. Hey, first team offensive line will run with 7 guys, and we'll rotate. We'll put here's Satterwhite at center. Here's Pendleton at center. Here's a guard combination, and then basically it's still your first string offense, but you're tinkering a little bit. And then you mix that in with, okay, Merklinger gets the first run with this offense. He gets 2 possessions. Okay, now Joey Aguilar gets 2 possessions in the same situation against your first team defense. That's what I hope it is. I think it'd be more telling having, both guys go with the same crews. Go with the same offensive line combinations, go with the same wide receiver combinations. Because then it's just basically, hey, personnel was even. Which one of these guys started playing better? Now, I don't know in years past how they've done that, because in years past, we ain't really had a quarterback battle. You know what I mean? There was no reason last year to let Jake Merklinger get any snaps with the ones. 2 years ago, there wouldn't have been really any reason to let Nico get any runs with the ones and take away from Joe's reps. Year before, of course, Hendon. Year before that, maybe you could have let Hendon, but at that point, I think Hendon was 3rd on the depth chart for a lot of camp. We haven't had a real quarterback battle during Josh Heupel's tenure, and really, a real quarterback battle that matters. I don't feel like we've had that in 10, 15 years. Going back to Josh Dobbs's maybe, I was going to say his freshman year, but no, Worley was kind of the entrenched starter. I guess Peterman was nipping at his heels a little bit in 13, but would that be 12 at this point? Hell, I don't know. I'm getting old. 13, 14. It's been a long time since we've had an actual quarterback battle, so I don't think we really know how Josh Heupel handles one. But yeah, I want to see everything be equal. Let the guys go out. Let the guys try to ball at the same level. Keep the situation similar. And let's take our chances. Let's take our chances with each quarterback and feel who plays best and really judge them equally. That's what I would hope Josh Heupel would do. If he doesn't do that, and one guy has to run with the 2s, I think that is pretty telling on how he views the quarterback situation. I think that's fair to say. The offensive line, we'll see who, kind of gets to run out there and what things they do first. Because I feel like the things they do first will be telling. It is kind of an unofficial lean, an unofficial depth chart for what they're trying to accomplish. Joey Aguilar gets the first snaps. I'm led to believe he is kind of in the lead right now at the quarterback position. If you take Big Sam Pendleton and have him out there running with the at center on the first series or 2, guess what that tells me? That you're really hoping that he wins the job at center and that he is comfortable and can play there. That's what that tells me.
What if they have the same line, but then they alternate the quarterback and the running backs and then a few receivers here and there?
That would be, if they have the same line, that's maybe the biggest thing. You don't want to see a guy have to go out there with the backups, playing, because I don't think that would be a fair situation. You don't want to see the guy go out there with the backup wide receivers. Now, maybe this year there's not a huge drop off between the stars and backups, but typically you'd want everybody to have an equal opportunity. That's how I feel, at least. But the wide receivers are banged up, man. So like you're gonna, they're gonna be there's gonna be some guys who, for wide receivers especially, have an opportunity to earn themselves some time.
So from this, though, is the only two takeaways mainly is just looking at line and quarterback play. If we have some injuries, on the defensive side, for the wide receiver group, like, what's the takeaways?
No, I mean, I think for the wide receivers, I think they're going to be tested, and I think they have a lot to gain. If you are Travis Smith, if you are Darius Jackson, and you are trying to get on the field, what's the best way to catch people's eye? Put some plays on film in an actual game / scrimmage setting, and you can maybe show some of that burst, show that you can play in an actual game flow situation, and then you start to stand out versus your contemporaries. Amari Jefferson was mentioned as someone who's had some chances this week to make up some ground on some of these banged up wide receivers, as Staley and Matthews have been slowed with injuries. You go out there and now you go next man up, and Amari Jefferson, who is at the risk of slipping through the cracks, he's gotten some chances to play. He's gotten some chances to go out there. So I imagine in the scrimmage he'll get some chances. And if you go out there and you catch a couple big catches, you make a couple big plays, you stand out.
Get him on the baseball diamond.
Well, like I said, he's slipping through the cracks. So if it's not working in football, hell, he might have to try to get back on the baseball diamond. I don't know. But when I was reading the updates from VolQuest this morning, they were talking about how many players are still in the transfer portal, kind of implying that Tennessee might need to go and try to grab a wide receiver out of the transfer portal, which I got to tell you something, brother. That didn't make me feel very good about what was happening here.
I mean, if we're talking about transfer portal with, 2.5, 3, however many weeks away from game time.
Yeah.
I know we need bodies maybe, but.
Yeah, I know. That ain't great, Bubba. That ain't great.
Can't be too. I just tell the guy go run this route and catch the ball. You don't need to learn the plays. Just know the route.
You ain't got to know the plays. Just run the route. I mean, you're not wrong, but you got to run the route and make catches and run with it and know how to block if you have to block. And it's not just that simple.
Oh no, you got to get familiar with cadences too, and the zip that the quarterback would put on the ball, or whether they want to lead you forward or try to lead you away, and back shoulders and stuff like that.
Sure. But no, I think I'm sure there's stuff on the defensive side of the ball too, where people are getting tested, right? And there's opportunities there for guys to shake up and guys to earn playing time. But it does feel like heading into this first scrimmage that pretty much we are just looking at the offense, right? Feels that way, right?
I mean, halfly if we're talking about a banged up receiver group. I mean, at that point, we're just looking at guys that maybe could fill in roles, but we're not looking at definitive for the receiver position. As far as the line and QB and running back, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I just don't know. At defense, it feels they're much more solidified. That's much more of a veteran group. That feels like that's much more of an established pecking order. At least that's how I feel.
I mean, it checks out,
Yeah. At least that's how I feel. At least everything I've said here in terms of at least, the quarterbacks starting to distance themselves a bit. I hope that all of that is accurate, right? I hope that we start.
We just come out of this and no quarterback looks better than the other.
Yeah, to me, that would be a little alarming, right? Is that fair to say that it would be a little alarming if nobody separates themselves?
I mean, a little bit, yeah.
Because I don't want a quarterback battle for very long. I want an established starter.
Because also I feel like that upset, some people if it's okay, so we go out of our way to, trade QBs with this guy and he can't distinguish himself from a guy that, hasn't really had a chance either on, this guy's third team to potentially play for. But that's alarming, John, if they can't distinguish themselves one from the other. So I guess the alternative is that one absolutely looks great or serviceable and the other one just doesn't.
Yeah. That wouldn't feel great now, would it, Bubba? That wouldn't feel great at all.
If our backup quarterback is just abysmal.
Yeah. I mean, if our backup quarterback was abysmal, at least that would let us know who our starter is.
It would.
Glass half full. Glass half full, you'd at least be like, okay, well, we know who the guy is. Because, like I said, I don't want a quarterback battle. I think ideally you have somebody, separate themselves, but that's clearly not happening. At least it hasn't yet. That's what the hope is for this scrimmage. What are your hopes for this scrimmage? Do you feel the same way I do? Are you comfortable with letting it play out a little bit longer? Feel free to let us know in the comments. We'll continue the conversation. Trying to get Stats by Will Warren to join us in the second hour. Talk with Jesse Simonton too, maybe in the third hour. Talk some SEC ball with him. Stick with us. Let's talk sports on FanRun Radio.
You're listening to FanRun Radio, the sports humans.
Hello, is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the hell is going on? You're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Men's Pro Knoxville, but he's too scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Gotcha, Mike. It's nephew Tommy. Ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Men's Pro Knoxville is the real deal, fellas. Local experts, test results in minutes. Call 865-544-8220 or hit menspronknoxville.com before your lady books a new co-star. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
Dental health is so important. It's one of those things that if you don't stay on top of it, it can really come back to haunt you, both financially and, of course, in terms of your physical health. If it's been a while since you've been to the dentist or you've got a dental issue that needs attention, do what I do. Go to Malone and Costa Dentistry at Knoxville Smiles. You can schedule your appointment online right now at knoxvillesmiles.com or just give them a call at 865-539-1776 and tell them FanRun Radio sent you.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
One more point of contention, I need some intervention. Approach with vague intentions, betray my short attention span. The distance
preseason football in college. It is kind of these scrimmages. In the NFL, they actually get out there and play some games. Bubba, I haven't asked you yet. How'd you feel about your Colts last night being the main story, the main highlights of the preseason as your third-year quarterback gets absolutely lit up in the first quarter and knocked out of the game with an injury?
Well, I've been on the Danny Dimes train since he rolled into Indianapolis. But I'm going to be honest, John, he didn't look that spectacular either.
Yeah, you guys are cooked.
I'm beginning to think so, John. Reality kind of set in last night, even though there was a positive. The quarterbacks can throw on, designed plays where they know who they're going to throw it to instead of having to, roll out if the play breaks down. Then we're really cooked, chat. But, just these predetermined, throws, not the worst. Tyler Warren looks like he could be really, really good. Other than that, just more questions offensively. Defensively, I think, it won't be as bad, even though the Ravens their secondary, I guess, is good enough to be starters on our team.
And the Ravens, I mean, like they for a long time, Bubba, for going on over a decade now, they just really care about the preseason. They treat the preseason seriously, which the Ravens are a top 6 franchise in the NFL, I feel like, of the 2000s, top 7, 2 Super Bowl wins. I mean, really, if you just say since Harbaugh took over, I know he'd only have the 1 Super Bowl win, but that they've been a top consistent franchise, top 3rd, top 4th of the league for sure. But in the preseason, they're number 1. Like they had that 20-game win streak for a while, like where they'd go out, they'd find ways to win. They cared about it. So no shame in getting physically dominated by a superior team, especially while
I wouldn't say. Well, I mean, yeah, physically dominated.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, well, what about? But then it's like, yeah, Riley Leonard and our 3rd string, against their 3rd string practice squad guys. Like,
I just can't get past Anthony Richardson. Like, and it was bad because you see a quarterback get laid out in the preseason, and I think in my head I expected the comments to all be like, "Oh man, like that's why you don't go out there without all your offensive linemen," or "Oh wow, like man, blitzing in the preseason," or that sucks for Anthony Richardson. But pretty much everybody that covers football is like, man, this is a very simple read that he should make here when there's a outside pressure coming, kind of untouched, and people are circling, the running back and the wide receiver, like the hot read,
and then the check down. So it's like if the pressure's coming from that way, there's going to be a guy open somewhere. But
the quick read is just to get the ball out there, and this is pretty elementary stuff. Like everybody should know this, and Anthony Richardson, top 5 pick, is in year 3, and apparently he still doesn't know how to read any type of coverage, which leads to pretty much everybody saying, like, no, he's cooked. He sucks. Like,
get him out of Indy. He needs a new change of scenery.
He needs a change of scenery, and that is working at FedEx, helping drive that bus that traffics people in and out of work.
He'd be a great backup to Cam Ward.
We do need a backup quarterback. I don't know if he doesn't seem – I think he's going to run into the problem that, you can't really bring him in as a backup, not because the teammates love and respect him and they'll root for him and they'll want him to beat the starter out.
He just couldn't help the offense get better and the quarterback give him the better reads and plays and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like he doesn't have the mental makeup of a backup quarterback. Like, I want my backup quarterback to be able to play.
You're calling my quarterback stupid, John?
I'm not calling him stupid.
He lacks the mental fortitude.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me on the internet pointing out that he missed all those simple, breakdowns of what he should do with the ball and where the pressure's coming from. That wasn't me pointing that out. That wasn't a Colts hater saying this guy stinks. It was everybody else. But also, that's not even taking into account that this guy – also checked himself out of a game last year, Bubba.
Oh, I know, John.
So he ain't really got the heart either. Like, it doesn't sound like his heart's in it either. And I want my backup quarterback to have some heart, and I want him to have some innate knowledge that he could pass off and pass over to my starter, especially if my starter's young. No, I'm not worried about family. completely endeared himself. I am all more experience. Like that is a quarterback, and I feel like the franchise finally has them a franchise quarterback, and that might blow up. You know, he might be a little reckless with the ball. He might be too reckless with the ball. Maybe he falls on his face, and it's the same story that the Titans have always had when they've tried to draft quarterbacks high. Flame out, flame out, flame out, flame out, bum, can't play, can't lead, retires and wants to go hunting, wants to hang out at TGI Fridays and throw his pads in the stands.
Don't know if I'd be at TGI Fridays.
Well, you know, that's where Vince Young liked to hang out. He liked to hang out at TGI Fridays.
You guys are forbidden with your places of establishment. Stay away from Dave and Buster's. Stay away from TGI Fridays.
Well, that's the last quarterback we drafted that was worth a damn, was the guy that wanted to hang out at Dave and Buster's with his mistress. And who knows, you know, he ended up getting killed for one reason or the other. And that's a black eye on the franchise, and it's a black eye on you know, maybe there's a curse there for the Titans and quarterbacks. I don't know, Bubba. I don't like going into Dave & Buster's. I'll say that. It's ruined Dave & Buster's for me. So, yeah, keep Cam Ward out of there. But no. Cam Ward has the makeup that you want in a quarterback. He ain't going to check himself out like Anthony Richardson. No.
If he breaks his finger, he's going to just put it right back into place somehow.
That's the type of quarterback my guy is right there. Yep. He does check those boxes. And you saw some of that highlighted with, you know, him and Shador working out together before the season, before the draft process, and you know, you had Shador asking him to be a rapper, and Cam's like, "No, I'm a football player." When you Google Cam Ward, I want to say American football, and you know that kind of gets the ball rolling in your head that this guy's no nonsense. And then he gets to the Titans, and he's a guy that gets to the facility at 5:30 every morning. He's there before. That's why.
Do we think he's a hothead?
Do I think he's a hothead? I don't know. I was getting ready to get to that, but like I was trying to give you the lore of Cam Ward, like where he's showing up at 5:30 and saying, you know, I watched my daddy wake up at 4 a.m. to go to a job he hated at a factory. And if he can do that, why can't I be up here for a job I love early? So I'm bringing that type of mentality. I'm like, yeah, that's a leader right there. And then, yesterday with the Bucks, you know, they had their live practices, which is basically like a preseason game of sorts. Like you go in there and you get these practices, kind of ones versus ones, and you kind of get that scrimmage feel. You start getting some stuff. And, there's fights breaking out because, hey, these guys are competing. There's juices going. You get tired of hitting the same guy every damn time. And fights break out. And there was a big one that broke out between the Titans defense and some Bucks. And Cam Ward, is launching footballs into the crowd. And they're asking him afterwards, like, did you have a target? He's like, oh, yeah. The guys in red. I was trying to hit some of them. I had my teammates back. You know, he's like, I like having a defense like that that's willing to go out there and fight. And, I was throwing balls at him, which I thought was pretty funny. I'm picturing Cam Ward smart enough to know, like, hey, I can't run into the fracas. I can't run into the brouhaha and, risk this beautiful golden arm. But I can throw a football from afar in there and hit somebody. I trust my accuracy there. You know, Will Levis would have probably hit Jeffrey Simmons in the back of the head if he threw a football into the crowd. Will Levis would have hit the blue team. So, shout out to Cam Ward for having the gumption and the leadership to defend his boys, but also knowing, hey, aim for the team in red. Now, to be fair to Will Levis, he did like throwing it to the other team, so he might have thrown it to the guys in the red. Just it would have been an accident. But no, I'm all in on Cam Ward. I got me a quarterback.
This is going to be a cursed season of the NFL.
It might be. And look, the Titans might still suck, and maybe Cam Ward, it isn't going to work.
AFC South is going to be so depressing to watch, John.
Yeah, the Texans, the favorite, lost their one of their big defensive backs, and Gardner Johnson, he's out. You know, that was a big name that they were, trying to count on having some stuff from. And you look at their offensive line, they seem like a pretty flawed division favorite, which gives me, a Titans fan, a little bit of hope. But for everything I said in the first segment about the Vols quarterbacks, it is nice for my other team to have an unquestioned guy.
That's the best thing about being a fan right now of my teams, John. we don't know what we're gonna get when it comes to game day.
I think last night you learned. I think you learned, Bubba. Kind of like we talked about just then with the Vols scrimmage, hoping a quarterback sets himself apart. I think in a quarterback battle, you hope the preseason starts separating guys. And Anthony Richardson not being able to recognize a very simple blitz and read makes me think that, like, if I'm the coach, I'm not hitching my wagon to him. I'm going to Daniel Dimes and dealing with a C+.
The supporters are going to say, why couldn't, whoever was out there at the time just give a little shove to the blitzing guy before he continues on his fly?
Because he was looking to the left, brother. He was the coverage or the protection had slid. He was blocking to the left. So, like, I think you got some answers too from your first preseason.
Man, I love football, John.
I'm trying to pace myself, but on one hand, my team's got a big quarterback battle. On the other hand, I got a franchise quarterback, at least as far as I'm operating. If he's not, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But as far as I'm concerned now, I got me a franchise quarterback.
Stinky.
Well, the Colts are stinky. That is true. Anthony Richardson. Like, you don't want to be the main story of a preseason game or a preseason night of football, and the Colts were the main.
The good news is, like, we weren't the only injury in that game. The Ravens guy broke his leg.
Who broke his leg for the Ravens? I didn't even see that.
Whoever their, safety was.
Kyle Hamilton?
No, it wasn't him.
Okay.
They didn't have him, or Malachi Starks was in there for, a drive or
okay.
two. So it wasn't one of their main guys, but I think one of their, third options.
Okay.
And it just bent the other ways. So
yeah, I didn't see that highlight, but I saw Anthony Richardson get blindsided about 5 times.
That's all that was on my feed for a good hour and a half.
I was sitting inside Freakier Friday watching Anthony Richardson get annihilated. I can't believe
you were playing on your phone at the movies kind of guy.
I'm not a play on my phone in the movies type of guy, but I want to say that happened before the movie even started. Like, it was.
What time of the showing did you go to?
8:00, but it was at the Cinnabar and it was delayed. So the movie didn't actually come on until after 8:30. So I want to say Anthony Richardson had already been annihilated by then. Now I will say from time to time in a long movie, I will look at my phone and I got to check some WNBA scores. I got to keep up with my dream. I got to get my bets in for another game. So I do that from time to time, but I keep my phone the very lowest dim and I'm not doing anything else on it. Sometimes guys got to put a bet in, Sometimes guys got to check some scores. Sometimes the guys got to see Anthony Richardson get blindsided 5 times. Did you and Bob text about it?
Nope.
Maybe you guys could talk about it after the show, just in passing. I'll bring it up. I'll ask Bob.
Hey, Bob, at least we know who our quarterback is, huh?
Spin Zone. Hour 1 of the books. We'll kick off hour 2 with some headlines. Hopefully talk some Tennessee hoops with our boy Stats by Will. Stick with us. It's Talk Sports on FanRun Radio.
Check out our new and improved website at fanrunradio.com.
Hey, Knoxville. Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right. Zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka. Sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka. Sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues. Every bet type you can imagine. Live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up. That's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
Sick of Googling the best bets for tonight and coming up short? Tap into the slate presented by VIP Play, East Tennessee's only on-air gambling show. I'm William Pattison, and every weekday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern, I'm giving you sharp analysis, trends, and picks for college football, the NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. If it's on the books, we've got you covered. It's the slate presented by VIP Play, weekdays at 6 on FanRun Radio.
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, FanRun Radio.
Total QPR, I don't know what the hell that means, but it also dropped 33 points, down to 54.8. I don't know how to judge QPR.
You're listening to Talk Sports.
I'm sitting here looking at the numbers. His QBR, when he won the MVP, was 117.1. Last year.
Not nitpicking, that's quarterback rating. The quarterback rating and QBR is two different things.
Okay, no, you're right. So his QBR was 79.4 when he won the MVP.
I don't know what the hell that means. Like I said, I don't know how to
go by
those.
The rate.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one we usually go by?
Yeah, the rating is what we usually use. QBR rating's different.
Well, forget QBR.
Yeah.
QBR
Throw it out,
go to hell.
because no one knows what the hell it means.
Airing every day
from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
He had a QBR of 117, went back to average in
QBR. He had a rating of 117.
Jesus Christ. He had a rating of 117. We still call it the quarterback rating, though.
I know, but you don't shorten it to QBR.
What the hell is the QBR?
No one knows!
Jesus.
On 1340 WKG.
I have a definition if you want it.
You can read it to me. I've read it a million times. I still don't know what the hell it means. To be fair, I don't really know what the hell quarterback rating means either. Hour number 2, kicking off here in the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. Shout out to White Claw Hard Seltzer. Shout out to Cherokee Distributing. We support them and their support of us. Wait, we support their support of us. We love them. They love us. We do support them because we support the people who support us. Bubba's about to support us with some Hour 2 headlines. Give us that supply, Bubba. Give me a 12-pack of headlines.
Well, I can't guarantee a 12-pack, John.
All right, I'll sell for a 6-pack. Give me a 6er.
Well, we'll see what we got here.
Give me a 6er of headlines, Bubba. 4-pack? Can you give me one? Can you give me a big boy?
Well, John, we've got some news here. We've got the Chargers.
Oh, no.
With a big old injury for the season.
Yeah, I said the big
Pro Bowl
story.
left tackle Rashawn Slater suffered a torn patellar tendon during practice, and he's done so for the season, which means Chargers, they're on the clock.
I'm not going to say they're going to be the worst team in the league. I'm not going to go that far, but I did say that Anthony Richardson was the main story of yesterday's preseason games, but he was not the main story of yesterday. The Chargers losing their stud all-pro type of left tackle. That
This comes, just after a massive 4-year extension on the 27th.
Well, that's good for him. I mean, if you're going to get hurt, you much rather get hurt after your big contract than before it. So at least he's been taken care of. But yeah, for the Chargers, I mean, they got Joe Alt. I don't think they would switch him from right tackle to left tackle.
Funny you say that. They say that Joel is sliding over to left tackle.
Oh, okay.
And then Pipkins III is stepping in at right. And then they're trying to figure out the rest.
Okay, so I mean, Joe Alt should still be I don't know about all pro, but he should still be a really, really good starting left tackle for them. So that is the benefit of having two just monster tackles. And then, they already had Slater and they said, hey, we're taking Alt anyways. We're going to make sure we have two great tackles. That's the benefit. It's a little bit of a safety net. So, okay, Alt being able to slide over, sure, that'll weaken right tackle for sure, but maybe it'll keep Justin Herbert's blind side protected.
This one is a word to Jack Pianta. As Ben Shelton rallies to win the Canadian Open, and he becomes the youngest American to hoist one of those Masters 1000 crown since Andy Roddick. So that's his comparison right now. Ben Shelton, one of the top Americans to look forward to in the future.
Word to Jack Pianta, wherever you may be. Hopefully you're listening, and I imagine you're in Clemson, South Carolina. I mean, Ben Shelton, the Americans do seem like they have, I want to say closed the gap because I don't know if that's accurate, but at least we're back to kind of the James Blake, Andy Roddick level where you have some Americans that can be in the semifinals and maybe pop through and make a final of these Grand Slams, because after Roddick and after James Blake, we didn't really have anybody. The best that we had was hey, John Isner, he's got a big serve, and hey, he played in that really long Wimbledon match that one time. At least now the American tennis players can hang. They can hang with the big boys and at least be in the mix. So that's cool.
On the baseball side of things, we've got Clayton Kershaw and Max Scherzer showing down tonight. I believe this is one of their first ones since their debut. Quite long ago when Mad Max, and then other boys for the D-backs. So that's a little fun for baseball. But who cares about that? Going back to the NFL, though, Texans also showing Jimmy Ward, safety, arrested for violating his bond, John.
Oh, no.
Alcohol stemming from a previous assault charge on his fiancée.
Oh, no.
Out on bond. Not anymore.
Great. Not great for them. Jimmy Ward, that's the name that used to really matter.
And speaking of football in the state of Texas, I don't know if you saw Texas Tech, kind of yesterday how we talked about how GM said, hey, we'll pay for whoever to come over here. Well, they landed a major commitment from 5-star edge rusher LaDainian Guyton, the number 2 overall prospect in 2027.
They're rich, man.
So, I mean, I guess they're doing it the right way, and this, not the right, ethical way, but.
No, not the right ethical way, but the fair way that happens now, right? The way that happens now that you could go out and buy players. They're doing that, and they're trying to buy the best players. At least they're doing that, right? They're going for the top-end talent. If you're going to be unethical and you're going to pay for players, and I don't even think that's unethical, of course, because it's fair now in today's game. Aim for the top. Go out there and do that. I'm really interested in Texas Tech. I'm really interested in how they move over the next couple of years. Are they able to buy themselves into legitimacy? Are they able to buy themselves into a high level of competition? Can they buy themselves a Big 12 championship, or at least a trip to the Big 12 championship game? Can they buy their way just to the playoffs and into the inner circle? SMU kind of did it. I don't know if SMU was spending all that money to, pay the roster per se, but they ponied up, pun intended, to get into the ACC and change their stars. And SMU went from an afterthought in college football to at least now a player, at least a school that matters. Again, last year they were in the college football playoff. That wouldn't have happened had they not bought their way into the ACC.
Well, also that, not just for football, but, in softball for Texas Tech, we saw what it did for them in the World Series.
Sure. Now, no disrespect to the softball girls if they're listening, but like football is a different level. It's a different type of investment. Like for softball, pretty much all I have to do is like, hey, here's $1 million to the best pitcher. She'll win us a bunch of games. And that's pretty much what she did. They fell short of winning a championship, but yeah, they got themselves there. Football is a little bit different. You got to pay more players. You got to pay better players. You got much more competition. When it comes to buying players in softball, Bubba, you're probably not competing against many schools. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're competing against the top schools, though.
Maybe. Like
the Texases, the Oklahomas.
Yeah, maybe even Tennessee.
Like is Tennessee up in
is maybe Tennessee, and maybe those schools are competitive in terms of being willing to spend money. Now, I don't know if any of them had any $1 million players like Texas Tech supposedly did. Like I know Pickens had some good NIL, but I don't think she was in the $1 million club.
I think other teams had different methods, like how we try to under the radar for Boise State players.
Sure. But I'm saying nobody was really going out making the big $1 million splashes like Texas Tech softball was.
Yeah.
Texas Tech football, a lot of schools are out there trying to pay for these big 5 stars, and there's a lot more of them. So I'm interested to see if it has the same type of impact. But if Texas Tech can just make a Big 12 championship, that's a huge success for them. The fact that somebody in Knoxville, Tennessee talks about Texas Tech football at least once every 2 weeks, at least references them, that's a big win. They are making themselves relevant. They're making themselves a story. Are you rooting for them or against them this year, Bubba?
For them.
That surprises me since you've called them unethical in terms of trying to buy players. I figured you're a man of principle.
I think about Mike Leach. I think about the air raid offense and how beautiful it is.
Oh, wow. R.I.P. to Mike Leach.
R.I.P. So, yeah, I mean, and too in the landscape, just to maybe because of them, and if they find this success very quickly and rapidly, maybe that leads to some rule changes and puts things back down into place and settles down a little bit. But until then, push the boundaries. And, speaking of NIL, John, North Carolina judge dismissed the lawsuit filed by NC State's 1983 Cardiac Pack basketball team as they seek NIL compensation from the NCAA. And the judge basically said the claims are untimely and legally insufficient. I don't know why they'd want, NIL all the way back from 1983, even though I guess they won the Natty over Houston. What's the statute of limitations on these things, do you think?
In terms of me caring about them?
It just, if something happened all the way back in 83 and then now with NIL being a thing, I understand they're trying to do hey, if you're, you were a part of this, call this for this number to get this much money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you could sue anybody. I don't think you can get any compensation for it. But, if I found out, 2019 LSU was cheating, it would diminish it a little bit in my head. Is that fair to say? If you found out that they were just, running some big scandal, would you care if somebody blew the roof off on Ed Orgeron and Joe Burrow and those guys? Maybe.
Well, it's funny you say that 2019 because, the House versus NCAA settlement it says here back in June promises nearly $2.8 billion back to players from 2016 onward.
Okay. So they're promising money for those players. Those players are going to get paid, is what you're saying?
That's some of the settlement. I can't guarantee how much. Oh, but then also it says and lost NIL opportunities. So I don't know if that's just 2016 forward or the lost NIL opportunities. So honestly, I could see more teams and players trying to do stuff like this, claiming lost NIL opportunities.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
this is just getting the ball rolling.
I mean, to me, COVID. That's why I went with 2019 LSU as COVID 2020. Even though I know it was probably more 21 is whenever you could actually start kind of paying players, or at least we kind of realized it was happening or getting ready to happen. I don't know if I'd actually care about 2019 LSU. I cared about Michigan and their sign stealing scandal, but it wasn't a pay for play thing I was worried about. I don't know.
You know, we talk about the courtroom. Well, there's another new team involved. The Utah Mammoth NHL team that, moved from Arizona.
Okay.
Is a lawsuit for trademark over the Mammoth hockey team, versus Mammoth Hockey, Mammoth Hockey, an Oregon-based hockey bag company. So they join the league, and then they send a cease and desist letter to this bag company that's been up in Oregon for longer than the team's been, incorporated. So I'll see how that works out.
The team's trying to big boy them. Were you aware of the Mammoth bag?
I was not.
Now you are.
Yeah. It looks like they've sold bags since 2014.
Did they just not file a trademark or anything? Do they not have a copyright or?
That's the thing I've not looked into.
Okay. All right. So they actually go by Utah Mammoth. That's what their team name is.
Yep.
Am I wrong? It used to just be like a hockey team, right? Hockey club. Were they the Utah Hockey Club for a while, or were they the Mammoth the whole time?
For the first bit until they found their name.
Okay. But they actually played as the hockey club?
I think so.
You don't sound very sure.
That's why I said think.
Yeah. You don't have to be a smart ass. I was just saying you don't sound very confident in it. You're my hockey guy.
I'm not a hockey guy.
But you're my hockey guy. You know more Italian than me. You're first most hockey. I'm second most. But I don't speak any Italian. That's why I said third most.
Speaking of Italians, John, Malik Beasley, NBA free agent. He's kind of been
gambling scandal. Yeah,
he apparently evicted from his Detroit high-rise apartment for unpaid rent.
Oh man.
And
he's like, hey, I thought I was getting ready to get an $80 million contract.
I believe the payment was $21,500. So, just not paying for months on end. How does that work? Why would they wait this long to evict him? Unless he just stays in a $19,000, high-rise penthouse place.
I don't know if he's. Yeah. It could just be a month or two of rents. I don't think most places are going to let you get more than 2 months behind on your rent before they evict you. But I imagine if you're in the high rise, the expensive business. We had it in Nashville, right, with Grant Furking. It wasn't even the same level in terms of being a penthouse in Nashville, but it was considered luxurious apartments. I imagine the people that live there, when you run their credit score, or you check in on them, you're like, oh yeah, this is an NBA player. I ain't got to worry about his rent. He's got money. So even if Malik Beasley didn't pay it the first month, he'd be like, he's been on the road. His people, there's a mix up here. Oh, there's a problem with the account. Yeah, he'll make it right. He's an NBA player. Of course he'll make it right. Then the money never comes in, and you're like, okay, time to evict him.
Speaking of mix-ups here, John, WNBA mixing things up as the Mystics, Leah Edwards, being traded to the Connecticut Sun for J.C. Sheldon. I feel like it's a pretty big trade in WNBA right now. One of the only ones happening, but...
Well, I feel like...
Leah Edwards is a bigger name, in my opinion. One that I could recognize.
See, that's funny that you recognize her because she's not been much... she was good at UConn, but she hasn't been much of a player in the WNBA. She did whip the hell out of Breanna Stewart in the summer one-on-one tournament. Whenever they're doing the Unrivaled, the 3-on-3 league, they had that one-on-one tournament. She beat Breanna Stewart, I want to say 7-0 or 11-0. She killed her. But yeah, no, she hasn't really cracked in as a W player yet. There's been a couple of trades this week.
And we know J.C. Sheldon from her, on-court activities earlier in the season, against Caitlin and some hair pulling versus Sophie Cunningham.
Okay.
All that. Madness.
Okay.
I believe she was the one involved in that, right?
She was.
Yep. Headlock. Yeah.
Nope, she was. Any other headlines you want to get to this hour?
Nope. We'll hold off.
All right, we're going to go talk some Tennessee basketball with our boy Stats by Will Warren. Feel free to send us in any questions over on YouTube if you want anything asked of Will. Best in the business when it comes talking hoops. Excited to catch up with him. Stick with us. It's Talk Sports on FanRun Radio.
Big Orange Country's home for sports. This is FanRun Radio.
Are you looking for a treat that will knock it out of the park at the next watch party? Just like your favorite baseball team, Crumble brings the best lineup week to week with an expanded roster that includes key lime pie, strawberry cake, or my personal favorite, Monster featuring M&M candies. Let Crumble treat you to the best cookies in the game. Download the Crumble app and start earning rewards. You can even vote monthly on what flavors you would like to see at any store of your choice. Warmer weather is here, so get to the ballpark, but don't miss the cookies.
Got a flat tire? Strange noise under the hood? Don't stress. Roll into Matlock Tire and Auto Service. From oil changes and brake repairs to brand new tires, Matlock's certified techs do it all. Fast, friendly, and fair priced, Matlock is the home of the price match guarantee. Bring in any competitor's ad and Matlock will match the exact same tire for the exact same price. Matlock Tire and Auto Service. 5 locations in East Tennessee. Visit MatlockTireService.com to find the location nearest you and schedule your appointment.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Yeah, it's another day, but what kind of day is it really? A day of doom scrolling? Laundry day? Nah, it's a White Claw day. Light and refreshing tasting, uniquely cold way filtered. There's an iconic flavor for everyone. So grab a pack, grab your friends. Make the most of each day with those who matter most. When you're together with White Claw, every day is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You just gotta grab it. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Hello, is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the is going on? You know you're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Men's Pro Knoxville, but he's too scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Gotcha, Mike. It's Nephew Tommy. Ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Men's Pro Knoxville is the real deal, fellas. Local experts, test results in minutes. Call 865-544-8220 or hit men'sproknoxville.com before your lady books a new co-star. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
This is Coach Josh Heupel. In football and life, you need a solid defense to protect what matters most. That's where Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee comes in. Score peace of mind with Farm Bureau Insurance, the official insurance of the Vols. They're your line of defense. FBITN.com.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance of the Tennessee Vols. I'm here to be that line of defense for all your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871 and go Vols.
Citizens National Bank.
We make it easy to save money. Get access to thousands of discounts on shopping, dining, and travel with the C&B Plus Perks account. It's a powerful new way to save money with roadside assistance, cell phone protection, identity theft protection, and credit monitoring. Banking at C&B has its perks. Call or stop by a branch for more details.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
All right, let's talk some Tennessee hoops with my boy Stats by Will. Will Warren, my good friend. How are you this morning?
I'm great, John. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. BasketUnderReview.com, the new gig. Congrats, man. A bunch of heavy hitters in the college basketball landscape. How did that come about?
Well, I think we just kind of got tired of, not to put too rude a word to it, but the slop
that is out and about in college sports coverage. A lot of the same kind of takes, a lot of, let's rank this transfer class versus this one. And I think we kind of all are the age where we miss Grantland. I'm sure you might. I know The Ringer is like kind of a decent replacement, but also just seems to be a podcast network at this point. So our goal was we wanted to create essentially college basketball Grantland, where there's a lot of good writing, there's a lot of fun stuff there. But as the season nears, we'll do video stuff, we'll go to arenas. Obviously, we've got podcasts going. So yeah, I was lucky to form it with a group of people I've known for a long time, and a lot of people I trust. I love their opinions, I love their coverage, and I know they're coming at it from a genuine perspective.
BasketUnderReview.com. BasketUnderReview.com. That's funny you said that. I used to go to Grantland 3 or 4 times a day to check for articles. The Ringer, I'll click on some if it hits my Twitter feed and it catches me and it's something I care about, but I very, very rarely ever type in Ringer.com to go search their articles. So it's definitely not as good, or maybe my habits have changed. I don't know, but happy for you, happy for the gig, happy to have some really good college basketball coverage because Tennessee, you can make the argument, is a college basketball school. That's even with Tennessee making the college football playoff. That's even with Tony Vitello winning a national championship. That's just how damn good Rick Barnes has been during his tenure. And this week, they got their SEC schedule released. We know who Tennessee plays in the SEC. We've known that for a while. But now we know the order of when they play these teams. Did anything jump out to you when you saw the Vols schedule?
Yeah, I think January is pretty difficult. You start immediately at Arkansas, which I think Arkansas is probably going to be preseason top 20 or so. I don't think you can go entirely by projections, especially at this point. Projections are more of a mark of how much talent you have rather of the talent fits together. But I do think that it matters that at Bart Torvik's site, Tennessee isn't going to play a team outside of the top 40 in SEC play until February, which I think that's partially schedule and partially just how good the conference has become. But, for example, you're not going to get LSU until mid-February. You won't get South Carolina until March. You'll get A&M kind of early, but A&M could be fairly decent. So I think what it reminds me of a lot, actually, is the Kennedy Chandler year, that schedule, where it seemed like Tennessee got, 7 or 8 of their 10 toughest SEC games in the front half. And so I think January could be difficult. I know Tennessee's got Florida on the road, for example, Arkansas, Alabama, even Georgia could be fairly salty depending on how they shake things out offensively. But I think it lightens up a bit once you get to February. So this is going to be another interesting year for online discourse around the team, which I always think is an exciting way to view sports through. If Tennessee can get out of January at 5-3, and I know people are going to cringe when I say that, but if you can get out of there at 5-3, genuinely a successful month, given how good this conference is and how front-loaded the schedule is.
When you started talking about that, I was sitting here thinking, does Tennessee have a track record under Rick Barnes of being better in 1 month compared to the others? Save your March jokes. Those are dead now. Rick Barnes coaches good in the tournament, listeners. Don't be trying to talk about how he falls apart there. That narrative is dead. But it feels like Tennessee usually is playing pretty good basketball by January. So I know you're talking about just from a schedule difficulty standpoint, but Tennessee's usually clicking on that, even during the transfer portal era with new pieces. Is that fair to say, or do the data say that Tennessee performs better later in the season than they do early?
It's pretty even, honestly. I think the last 2 years, they've stepped it up towards the end of the season, which has been nice. But, you don't have to think too far back, like the 22-23 season. Still made a Sweet 16, but that February was a pretty rough experience. Obviously, the COVID year kind of crash-landed towards the end. But, generally speaking, I would say under Barnes, in the era where they've been good, so the last 8 seasons, they have generally performed a bit better closer to the SEC tournament than earlier in the season, which makes sense. They spend, in my opinion, a lot of November and December just figuring out rotations, who works together, who doesn't, how aggressive can they play? Do they have to sort of be a little more conservative on the perimeter due to depth or whatever. So I think everybody gets a little more efficient from November to March, but Tennessee kind of seems to spend especially now in the portal era, those first month or two experimenting, especially against the dregs of the schedule, which didn't used to be the case. I can remember, the Grant team or even the Kennedy team, really, you would get in an Alcorn State, for example, and it was sort of a foregone conclusion Tennessee might win that game by 54. Whereas now it's like they might only win by 20, but you might find out something actually educational about the team in the process.
I feel like I'm sitting here for the fourth straight year thinking that this Tennessee basketball team, this Tennessee basketball roster makes the most sense. That this is going to be the best team on paper that Tennessee's had. I felt that way last year when you look at the size they brought in with Igor and you hope Dubar, and like it felt like a more well-rounded team versus Connect and the Pips. I felt that way coming in with Connect and those guys versus what they had, the years prior with Josiah and trying to rely on Tyreek Key and those type of players. Am I being too much of a homer for saying that about the 2025, 2026 team before we've seen them play? Or do you agree that this roster just makes sense from a basketball standpoint when you look at the combination of bigs and guards and how everybody fits and the roles are maybe pretty clearly defined?
I think it really depends. This year is going to be the first without a bunch of, COVID year guys where, you're not going to have, I know Chad Baker-Mazara is still in college because he hasn't started the LinkedIn profile just yet. And perhaps we don't want him to, but I think there's going to be, generally speaking, a bit of a downturn in college basketball talent this year, just because it won't be as old, just because a lot of the best guys have gone off to, second round NBA or whatever. There's still talent returning. You still have some star freshmen coming in, AMET specifically for Tennessee purposes. But I think you're going to see the top end of the sport have more holes than you have the last couple of seasons, which makes it, for me, I'm a little less worried about some of the concerns I have on Tennessee's roster. Like, I don't totally know if Phillips and Akpara are going to fit together all year long at the 4 and 5. I don't know about really what Tennessee's going to do with the 2. Abram, I've never really been convinced by in his college career. But I also don't know if we want Berg starting right away, for example, or Bishop Boswell takes a leap even. So we'll see. But I think the great thing for Tennessee is you're going to have a plus option at the 3 main places that count, guard, wing, center, with Jacoby Gillespie, Amet, and Akpara. And if you can fill in the spots around those with like good role pieces or, defensive stars, I think Phillips in particular could have some real room to run on that end of the court. It seems like he took a major leap from freshman to sophomore year on defense. I don't know that I think they fit together better than last year, but I definitely think the opportunity is there for them to be just as good, if not better, by year's end.
You know what? Maybe that's why you're the professional when it comes to talking college basketball, because I do think that you summed it up a little bit better. Maybe it's not the overall roster that fits better, but I do think the way you summed it up, point guard, wing, post. You got 3 guys at each level that you can really trust with Gillespie and Felix, and then what we think we'll get from Nate Ament. So yeah, maybe that's the better way to put it than saying the roster is more well-rounded and fits together better, because I do think what you said about, the questions at 4 and whether or not Phillips or Estrella can actually shoot the ball at all, or Jalen Carey can play with Akpara. I do think those are fair questions. Are fair questions. What do you expect from Nate Ament? Because I'll be honest, Will, I know you don't like talking gambling, but I was browsing the Wooden Award odds list just to see where Nate was. And I got to say, he was 40-1. And I started scratching my scruff on my face saying, what is the path for Nate Ament to be the National Player of the Year? And I at least considered it. Are those expectations reasonable? Or at least is that ceiling reasonable? Because, expectation, that'd be too much to expect him to be the National Player of the Year. But can he be that caliber player? Do you think Rick Barnes is going to turn the keys over to him? Or is he going to be more of a complimentary piece, and this is Jacoby Gillespie's show?
I really don't know. I think, now to your first point, Player of the Year, it's obviously a stretch, but it's plausible, I think, with any top 5 recruit. that's at least in the ballpark of things that can happen. I would obviously say DeBansa, Boozer, even Peterson are going to have better chances, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ament's at least, not only the fourth best freshman, but a guy that can potentially jump into that top three. We see it every year where we think we've got a locked in top 2 or 3, for the next year's NBA draft. And then, a guy pops off or a guy disappoints, whatever it might be. Somebody takes that lead. So it might as well be Ament. So the interesting thing with him is, and I'm recalling this off the top of my head, so it might not be fully accurate, but I believe one of the draft guys I follow noted that Ament played 100 plus basketball games in the 2024 calendar year, which is a lot for a 17-year-old. But what that means to me is he might be more game ready starting his freshman year than most. So what I'm really looking for in that regard is those first few games, especially Tennessee's first few against real competition in the players era. Is he going to be the number one option? Or, like you said, is this Gillespie's team? We really don't know, which makes it both exciting and a little scary. But I do think that if Tennessee's going to be at their best this year by March, Ament probably needs to be the number one guy and let Gillespie be more of a number 2 / the distributor that Tennessee's going to need.
It's funny when you said that stat about, him playing, would you say 100 games this past year?
Something like that, 100 plus.
You said, maybe he'll be more game ready, and all I thought of was like, I see why these basketball players in the NBA are breaking down at a more alarming rate than ever before, because 100 games at the age of 17 seems kind of crazy. It seems like a big wear and tear for these guys, and maybe that's why you saw Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton and all the young players kind of start wearing down. So I took it a different way. But from a Tennessee short-term game perspective, I like your thought better, that he could come in a little bit more polished, a little bit more refined, and like you said, not maybe hit that freshman wall the same way other guys will. Because if you play 100 games, you would think you'd be conditioned and physically ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's going to be more game ready than your average freshman, certainly. And the practice reports we've gotten from the beat writers, it seems to indicate like he's really relishing his role, is happy to step in however he may need to be. I won't be shocked if, like, the first month or two he is the number 2, just because it generally seems to be how it worked. Even Flagg kind of had, if you'll recall, a little bit of a rough start last year.
Sure.
But, starting after about Christmas is generally when these guys, find their role, begin to get in the groove. Even the Kennedy year, Kennedy didn't really seem to find his spot until February. So it might take a while, but I do anticipate by the end of the season he's going to be the number 1.
I need to go look at Kevin Durant's game logs at Texas to see how long it took him, because I was promised baby Kevin Durant. Those are my expectations, Nate, if you're listening. I need 26 points a game. You talked about the Players Era Tournament. Tennessee, of course, headed out to Vegas in November. That's where a lot of their non-conference power opponents will be played. I got to say, like, Rutgers as the first opponent, that feels kind of like Syracuse and Maui a couple years ago. Is that fair?
It feels more like Virginia and whatever the tournament was last year to me, where now Las Vegas time is Pacific, right?
Yes.
Pacific or Mountain.
Pacific.
So because I'm looking at the schedule right now, that's a nice 10 a.m. local game with Rutgers. So I think about 32 people will be there.
That is tough. Okay, so maybe more so like Virginia. Now, of course, Houston, that's going to be a heavyweight fight. That's going to be a big one. And then the third game, we're pretty much just deciding on that just depends on how the point differential and everything works, which makes it a kind of a dumb tournament. But you should get a quality opponent in that third game, correct?
Absolutely. And I mean, maybe you don't get another Houston level team, but I don't think people would complain if you got like a Baylor or a Creighton or something like that, an Oregon, somebody that's still going to be, top 25 good. I think people can be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, it did leave a lot to be desired when it came to Tennessee's non-conference schedule, at least when it came to home games, right? When you look at the Illinois neutral site game in Nashville, you pretty much only got Louisville coming here. That was a little disappointing.
Yeah, but Louisville is going to be extremely good this year. So I think you'll get that marquee game. Somebody born of a certain era, I'm glad to see the Louisville home and home come back. So I think that's good, but I do agree. And it does leave a weird hole in the schedule. I don't know if you've thought about it much, but there's 10 days in between the Illinois and Louisville game with nothing.
That's like middle of December, though, right? So that's kind of like that weird spot where
finals week.
Yeah, that's finals week, and we do still have to. These kids, they don't ever talk about it anymore with NIL, but they do still have to go to school and go to class and all that. So I guess we still have to take a little bit of a finals break. But yeah, our entire non-conference schedule takes place over like a 5-week stretch or a 4-week stretch. It's all kind of back to back when it comes to those games. So that's even more jumbled up when you consider the 10-day break for finals.
Mm-hmm.
Marwan, a.k.a. Weezy, writes in. He wants to know, Will, is it crazy to say the point guard position will be better this year than it was last year?
No. I think Gillespie's a better scorer. I don't think anybody is going to be a better distributor than Ziegler was. I think he is, at least for passing purposes, finding the open man, could be the best Tennessee's ever had at the point. But Gillespie, in terms of a pure scorer, is significantly better. He's got longer arms, which I think matters a lot. He's able to get to spots a bit better pull-up shooter, 41% last year from 3. I think Tennessee fans are going to like him a lot, man.
It feels crazy to say after Zakai just left, because he's maybe the most beloved Vol of all time for a lot of people when it comes to the basketball program. But it does feel like the ceiling of Gillespie is much higher.
Yeah.
Does feel like he has a less of a physical deficiency, and like you said, the shooting. It felt like Tennessee, when you just look at the last 2 Elite 8 games, it feels like Zakai, I don't know, even want to say ran out of gas, but like he just couldn't be the scoring option, the scoring punch that you needed as a guy with that had the ball in his hand the entire time. I hope Gillespie, like I said, has a higher ceiling and can maybe be that punch when you get to those crunch games in March.
Well, I mean, you generally see this in other sports. Like the NHL, smaller guys generally struggle the deeper you get into the playoffs. Physicality kind of wins out. And while Zakai can be physical in his own way, there's obviously a finite limit to what you can do at 5'9". Gillespie having those 4 extra inches, that's going to matter a lot. He's very physical on perimeter defense. Like I mentioned, a much better shooter. Still a pretty good passer in his own right, but I don't think anybody's going to expect him to have the assist numbers that Zakai did. But you are going to get more one-on-one production from him, which I think is going to be really nice to have. So, and I know there's been some, stats people out there have had concerns with how he performed without Derek Queen on the court last year. But 1, small sample size, and 2, Tennessee's frankly going to have more talent around him than he had at Maryland.
Is Tennessee being undervalued? When you just look at the odds and you look at the preseason rankings, having them down in the low teens or maybe even in the 20s, like it feels like they're being undervalued. But again, I might just be being a homer.
No, I don't think you're off base. I would have Tennessee like low end top 15, like 13th, 14th. I think feels about right.
Okay.
The big question for me is still, what do you do with the 2? I would feel a lot better if. And I know that I would not have done this personally, but it's not my money. If they had spent up for like a Rodney Rice or an Isaac McNeely, if they had done that, then I think you'd be like, oh yeah, Tennessee's top 5, top 6, whatever. But
they tried with Rodney Rice. They
sure did.
Yeah, they couldn't get to the reported like $3 or $4 million range that USC got, which seemed crazy.
3.1 is what I was told. Which is
I didn't want to pay him $3.1 million. I didn't want to bring him in for that.
Yeah, so it's a little extreme, but I do think I would feel a little better if they had, better explanation for what they're going to do with the 2. And maybe Berg works out really well. Maybe Boswell takes leap. And of course, maybe Abram is just a catch and shoot guy, just, generate some steals on defense. That's good enough value. But no, I think they're underrated a little bit because we actually see this more with like a Michigan State, strangely, than we do at Tennessee. Defense-first programs don't really seem to get the same level of love in the polls as like a Kentucky will this year, or an Iowa State. Like Iowa State also struggles to get that national respect. Tennessee's defense, I think you can just pencil in for being yearly top 5, almost regardless of who the personnel is, just because they've got that system figured out so well. And to that point, Tennessee's offense does not necessarily have to be some amazing unit for them to be a top 15 team. So I would agree they're being a little underrated.
Stats by Will, a.k.a. Will Warren, a.k.a. my go-to college basketball expert. You can check out his work, basketunderreview.com, _review on Twitter if you want to give it a follow. Doing some great work, Will, as always. That piece about MTSU, I like that you don't just cover Tennessee anymore. You can talk about the sport as a whole, and you can kind of inform people and educate people. But this one still has a little bit of a local flair, where MTSU apparently has the best home court advantage in the country that no one talks about.
Yeah. The stat itself is that in MTSU home games, their opponents shoot 7.5% worse than in MTSU's games on the road from three, which is, when I calculated it out, a once in every 43-year occurrence. That's how unusual and extreme an outlier it is. And I talked to Nick McDevitt, who's MTSU's men's basketball coach. He had no explanation. Talked to a few people in the sports information department, and they had nothing. Went through old newspapers, went through everything I could find, and there's essentially nothing that explains why this is the case. So our best case, honestly, is that there's like supernatural beings in Murfreesboro, which, maybe they could get the ghost realtor from Nathan for you to investigate that.
I liked it. I appreciated the reference there. I liked her. I commend you to leave this woman alone. The Roundhouse man. The Roundhouse, that's Chattanooga. Or what are they called? Do they have a name for the MTSU arena?
The Glass House.
The Glass House. That's right. I call it the Roundhouse, but I was like, no, that's the Mox. The Glass House. It gets rocking, man, I guess. That's crazy, though. Check out his work, basketunderreview.com. Learn more about college basketball as a whole. Check out his podcast. So you're doing a weekly one now, right?
Yeah, I never thought of myself as much of an audio person. I think I do sound a little like Nathan Fielder. But, yeah, they have me doing one called Stats by Will and Jim with my co-host Jim Root, who, if you're a college basketball guy, his show 3-Man Weave is really good. Up there with like the eye on college basketballs of the world. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far. And, it's only August, so it's cool how much content we've put out so far. But I know as we get closer to the season, and obviously once November comes around, things are going to really get fun and really speed up. So looking forward to it.
I'm all in on this basketball season. Will, appreciate you, brother. Proud of you. Great to see you grow. Great to see you keep working. Thanks for the time. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Yes, thanks, bud.
All right. Get us out of here, Bubba. Send us a break. Let's talk sports on FanRun Radio.
You're listening to FanRun Radio, the sports humans.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine. Live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Hey, folks, if you're in need of a lawyer, you need to call my friend Jerry Givens. I've known Jerry since high school and can personally vouch for him. He's East Tennessee through and through, and if you're going through a divorce, bankruptcy, or a DUI case, you'll need someone you can trust on your side to help you navigate the local legal system. You can trust Jerry Givens. Call the law offices of Jerry Givens today at 865-801-9250 to schedule your free consultation. That's 801-9250.
Citizens Citizens National Bank.
Life is more fun with a Good Life checking account, offering extra benefits including bank travel. Join us for a trip to Mackinac Island for a stay at the beautiful Grand Hotel. Travel with us to southern Utah to witness the enormous, colorful, and unusual rock formations. Or join us on one of our many day trips. We're always on the go.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Hey Knoxville, Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
And I hate liars. Oh, you want the brave cat's secret that I never tell. I'm up in heaven, but I came from hell.
Well, Bubba, what did you learn from Stats by Will? Did you learn anything?
I learned a little bit about MTSU.
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy stat that just, they just have a kind of a statistical anomaly there when it comes to make a team shoot worse.
I learned that I'm even more fired up for Tennessee basketball.
Yeah.
One thing I wish I would have asked him was about either some rule changes like the coaching challenge and how that's going to affect things.
Yeah.
And also just Jalen Carey, just because I like talking about that guy.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about, transfers in Rodney Rice and Jacoby being, one of the guys, but
$3.1 million for Rodney Rice seems kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like it seems absurd.
But hey, if you're serving programs out there, you'll pay it.
I mean, I guess if you're USC, you got to try to. We talk about Texas Tech trying to buy their way to relevancy, but like USC's got to do something.
Yeah, they did in I think, a poor way. They took some names. Also Chad Baker-Mazara too. You mentioned him.
They got to fix their programs though. Like USC is pretty much irrelevant in every sport right now. Like they don't matter in anything. And it feels a long time since they've actually been relevant in football. Like, I know when they hired Lincoln Riley, people thought like, hey, this is it. They're going to return to prominence. Wow, look at what they did. But like he's been very, very, very disappointing. I mean, he's almost as much of a bust as Anthony Richardson. Taking him in the top 5 and having him be that guy.
Also, I'm intrigued, even though we didn't ask, but his thoughts on Arizona. They've got some, returning talent, but also they've got, the young Bronny James going in there. How would that affect them, if at all?
It hurt when William shut down my idea that this team makes the most sense together, but I do think he's right. Like in terms of the big man rotation, it's deep, it's talented, I think. And they are trying to send some reports out there that Phillips and Estrella have improved their shooting, but it is going to be tough if you're trying to play Felix Okpara and a guy at the 4 who can't really shoot. That will make this team feel a little cluttered at time, and you'll have to hope that Gillespie and Big Nate, aka Baby Durant, can overcome that with spacing.
Well, then you're also going to throw in a guy too like Abrams, who would probably fill in that shooter role as well.
Yeah, but I mean he's going to have to be an elite shooter. He's going to have to be an elite catch and shoot guy for him to make sense on the court, I feel like.
Yeah, it'll be. Do you remember what he was shooting at Louisiana Tech? Was it like 34%?
No, it was much higher than that. I want to say he was around 30. I want to say he was around 39%. I want to say. I'm checking right now, but he's going to have to be a near 38, 39, 40% shooter, because the spacing on that team is going to be a little bit cluttered if the 4 can't shoot at all. That is true. All right, Amari Abram. Let's see here. What was he hitting? God, if it's 34%, I'm going to be so mad, Bubba. But I thought it was better than that. Okay, not quite as good. 37%. 37% at Louisiana Tech. On 5.5 per game. I didn't watch a lot of Louisiana Tech basketball last year, so I don't know how many of those you would consider just open catch and shoots. I imagine playing with Jacoby Gillespie and Nate Ament that we will have him shooting a lot of just catch and shoot. Like, hey, you're wide open, brother. Knock it down. So hopefully that 37% can go up to 38, 39%. In his 10 games at Georgia Tech, he shot 20% on 2 attempts, so it didn't really work well for him there.
Another thing we probably should have asked is Will was his thoughts on Rod Clark returning to Indiana, and how that affects them as well as us looking forward, because we understand Gainey gets to step up down here, but
yeah, I think it would be like what Will said on a couple questions, just like we don't know yet. I think we got to see how it affects the Tennessee coaching staff. Like, Barnes seemed pretty motivated by him leaving. Barnes made comments about basically like, we're good with the guys we got. We're happy with the guys we got. But yeah, like, I don't think we'll know until we actually get to game day preparation or, game weeks, and how the scouting and all that changes. I think we're kind of in a wait and see, but I got to say, I'm not really worried about it. Are you concerned about it? Are you worried?
Not really, just because that recent article that came out about Gainey, being a part of immense recruiting as well.
Oh yeah,
that kind of instilled a lot of hope. Also, he raised a great young man in Jordan Gainey, so not too worried about that.
Yeah, I'll miss Jordan Gainey. I miss Jordan Gainey. Hour 2 in the books. We'll kick off hour 3 with another batch of the news. We'll talk with Jesse Simonton about some SEC football. Look at some coaches. Set the stage there. The sport as a whole. It's kind of the theme today. Bubba, wrap up this hour. Stick with us. It's Talk Sports on FanRun Radio.
The flagship station for Tennessee football. Fans. FanRun Radio.
Yeah, it's another day, but what kind of day is it really? A day of doom scrolling? Laundry day? Nah, it's a White Claw day. Light and refreshing tasting, uniquely cold way filtered. There's an iconic flavor for everyone. So grab a pack, grab your friends. Make the most of each day with those who matter most. When you're together with White Claw, every day is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You just gotta grab it. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Phone's blowing up, but you're in the driver's seat. Ignore the buzz, keep your eyes on the street. No text back, no scroll, just let it wait. Attention on the road, that's the only way. Phone's blowing up, but you're in the driver's seat. Ignore the buzz, keep your eyes on the street. No text back, no scroll, just let it wait.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Are you tired of trying to squeeze your dental appointments in on your lunch break or before you go to work? Here at Knoxville Smiles, we're all about making going to the dentist easier. That's why we're now open until 7 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. To take advantage of our new evening hours, make your appointment now at knoxvillesmiles.com or just call us at 865-539-1776. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game. Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing. and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, FANRUN Radio.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
Talk Sports. Talk Sports. Talk Sports.
Talk Sports. Talk Sports from 7 to 10. Overrated, underrated on Wednesday. FANRUN Radio, Talk Sports said, not in my house. I ain't talking to Kim, babe. Johnny and Cody out here asking where the ops at. Tennessee Volunteers here for combat. It's the Cherokee Ghost, Sean Reed and Cody doing everything we can to bring Rocky Top back. Talk Sports from 7 to 10. Never leave a witness, never leave loose ends. Nico ain't nothing but a nuisance. 2026, we making new friends.
Talk Sports. Talk Sports. Talk Sports.
Talk Sports.
Hour number 3 kicking off here in the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. This batch of headlines this hour brought to you by SM Athletics. If you have any apparel needs for your business, your club, your organization, give us a call at SM Athletics. Hey, football right here, basketball right behind it. If you are in charge of any youth teams, any sports teams and need uniforms or equipments, give us a call at SM Athletics. You'll get great products at a fair price. You'll get to deal with people you can trust. You can pop in, see us, check out the facility. Don't chance it with unreliable mega stores. Don't worry about online orders where you can't really talk to somebody. Trust the folks at SM Athletics. Give us a call today at 966-3434 or visit online at smathletics.com. All right, Bubba, give me some news. Some
John?
news, please. Come on, news me, boy. News me.
A third or fourth.
Sex toy. Yeah. The more sex toys.
They're saying it's orchestrated, which I don't know.
Yeah, it's orchestrated. People, yeah, there's at least somewhere.
I don't know if it's a group, but I think it's just people being inspired, just young, dumb, and broke kids just saying, hey.
Yeah.
Let's think this is funny.
Young, dumb, and broke. I mean, I haven't seen any like respected businessmen out there throwing it. You know what I mean?
Not yet.
I ain't seen them get caught yet. Like the guy I saw was a little frumpy 18-year-old. Ha ha ha! This is funny. I just don't find it funny at all. I find it sad. I understand not everyone wants to like the WNBA. I'm not asking them to.
Has the lust already worn off? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, John. I thought the first time it happened, I was like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah, the first time it was kind of funny, but the luster wore off for me a long time ago. Like to me,
now it's just harassment. I mean, it probably always has been harassment. You know, with that being that type of object being thrown during a women's basketball game. So the harassment's always been there, but
yeah,
now it's just repeated and repeated. Which means it'll probably happen again tonight or over the weekend again.
Until these people start going to jail. until they start putting them in prison. Or until they hit somebody and actually like hurt them. But that's not going to happen. You're not actually going to hurt somebody with that.
Could poke an eye out.
It could poke an eye out. That is true. That is true, Bubba. You know, instead of you're part of the problem. You started off hour 3 headlines talking about it. Meanwhile, there was history made last night. Talk about the games, bro.
The triple double that
Alyssa
happened.
Thomas, 3 straight triple doubles.
Yeah.
That's the first time it's ever happened in league history. And I'm mad at myself because I had my finger on the trigger a couple days ago. She was still 5-1 to win MVP.
Use code FANRUN.
Use the code FANRUN, all caps, VIP play. I was hovering, finger over the trigger on Alyssa Thomas MVP because the favorite right now, Nafisa Collier, is out for another week and a half. I cursed her with my Vegas bad luck. I even mentioned that in my Vegas recap. My favorite player, the girl I was there to see, sprains her damn ankle at the end of the third quarter, and they acted like she had ruptured her Achilles or something, the way they crowded around her and covered her up with towels to hide her. But, yeah, she's out for a couple weeks. So that opens the door to have MVP stolen, and Alyssa Thomas, with her 3rd straight triple-double, has a chance to go out and do it. But instead of talking about the actual ball, you come on here and talk about something besides ball.
How dare I point out some headlines happening in the sports world, John?
I'm not mad at you, but you know what else is a headline?
A lot of things.
That Alyssa Thomas got her 3rd straight triple-double. She's the 2nd best player in the league.
Is she?
3rd probably behind Asia, but Asia's been struggling this year. Alyssa Thomas is good, man.
You know who else is typically good, even though they struggled last night? That's Paul Skeens, as he ends a pretty significant streak. I believe it was 46 straight starts where he allowed 6 or less hits. He gave up 7 last night.
Yeah, he got up 0 runs. Why are you looking for the negative, bro? He shut out my Reds. They won 7-0. And here you come on and talk about, well, he gave up 7 hits. Yeah, I mean, he didn't give up any damn runs. You and these negativity.
Yeah, but he's letting the ball go and play, though. That's more on the defense than just him.
Sure, but if they don't score, if he pitches around it, that's what really matters, right? You don't get to count how many hits you got, and well, we got 5 hits. Can we trade that in for 1 run? No, you can't. You can get on base with a hit, but you still got to get them in. Sir, we had 20 hits. Can we please trade that in, like some tickets at Dave & Buster's? 20 tickets, 20 hits for 3 runs. Nope, doesn't work.
You and Dave & Buster's, man.
Well, you brought it up earlier, brother, not me. You're the one that brought up Dave & Buster's. Why are you mad at me about it?
Speaking of...
I can't win with Bubba. Bubba's going to find something to try and nitpick me on no matter what. I can't win for losing.
Can't lose for winning.
That'd be nice. It'd be nice if that was the case.
Speaking of losing, Pac-12 bound schools Boise State, Colorado State, and Utah State, a lot of states, filed a lawsuit against the Mountain West Conference and the commissioner for allegedly withholding millions in funds.
Millions?
Millions.
With an M?
And misleading them about Grand Canyon University's entry into the conference. I always think it's weird that just conferences just sue, or teams can sue just conferences and stuff like that.
It just makes it awkward, right? Whenever they fix things or they don't leave.
Yeah.
Just makes it awkward.
I need Tennessee to start suing the SEC.
Grand Canyon is a school that we heard a lot about, when they first got here and the big times, but I don't think they're really
in
relevant.
Basketball, it's like, their basketball team's always, showing up in March, it feels like. Granted, I don't know how far, they really make it in March.
I feel like they showed that one year and almost beat Alabama, right? Didn't they almost beat Alabama?
I couldn't.
I feel like that was last or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. They almost upset Alabama, I feel like. I don't know. Just hear a lot about that damn Grand Canyon school for them not to really accomplish anything.
Wait, who? What?
Grand Canyon.
Yeah, what about them?
I said we hear a lot about them for them to not really accomplish anything.
Yeah, because there's something shady going on there, John.
Yeah. I'm not mad at you for the headline.
It's like the Phoenix University. What if they pulled out just like with the football team?
Yeah. I'm not mad at you giving me the headline. I'm not worried about that, brother. I'm just saying for the last 7-8 years, I've heard a lot about Grand Canyon. Now, they do have that hot women's basketball coach, so we heard a lot about her whenever, Tennessee was going to go out and hire somebody young and innovative. People really wanted her, but
we got someone better.
We do. Amen to that, brother.
And by that, Lady Vols.
Give me a Lady Vols expert on the line that I can interview, like give them equal time like I did with Stats by Will. Give me a Lady Vols guy or girl on the line.
We have Cora Hall.
Okay.
Local journalist.
All right.
We've also got from RTI Ryan Sylvia.
Okay.
FANRUN's own former Dawson Wise.
Okay. Get them on the line. Figure it out. Next week.
At some point in time. But apparently they're battling pretty hard for some top recruits.
Well, they should be. We're a brand that matters. And I feel like Kim's been doing a good job recruiting since she got here. But yeah, like there's her own version of Nate Amen out there, right? That she's in the mix for right now.
That's a strong statement to suggest, but yeah, more or less.
Okay, I guess you don't believe in. Are we talking about Olivia Edwards? Is that who we're about to talk about, or who are you mentioning?
Well, there's also the other individual. I don't think it was Olivia Edwards who had the Nate Amen comparison, although it could have been.
I mean, she's a big time player, from what I read. So that's who I was talking about whenever I mentioned Nate Amen. But either way, what's your headline here? What you got?
Well, now I've lost it, John. You stole my.
I was trying to.
I know you're trying to set me up, but
yeah,
just wrong place, wrong time.
Are you okay?
No.
Are you on drugs?
No.
What's wrong with you?
A lot.
Well, find it. I'm interested in this headline. What you got for me? I want to hear about the Lady Vol basketball team because I like women's basketball. I'm not in it for the sex toys. I'm in it for the hoops.
Now, what if that happened to women's basketball for college?
It might eventually happen, but this big O Edwards, I mean, she's out here jamming on people. She's out here dunking. She's the number one player. I'm pretty sure she's the number one player in 2026. Is that right? Is that wrong? I don't know. Either way. She named South Carolina finalists. Did she name us a finalist? Is that the headline? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Possibly.
Yeah, that is. I'll do your job for you. She announced top 6 schools: South Carolina, USC, LSU, Tennessee, Florida, and Washington. She's supposed to visit Tennessee on September 12th. So that's a big recruiting weekend.
Have the Lady Vols had their schedule come out yet?
Why are you asking me questions you can easily Google?
Because, John, I thought it was an appropriate question.
The audience needs to think I'm an expert. If you ask me a question I don't know the answer to, they start losing confidence in me. I haven't seen the Lady Vol basketball SEC schedule get released yet. That doesn't mean it hasn't happened, but it hasn't been covered. If so, let's see. Let me scroll. It appears it has, Bubba. The Lady Vol schedule's out. Oh no, it did come out last week. I remember now. I got to be honest. I didn't really care because I don't really know the rest of the SEC women's basketball programs the same way I do the men's. Like obviously, I know like, oh wow, LSU. Oh wow, South Carolina. Those teams matter. Hey, we play South Carolina on February 8th. Oh, it's gonna be a tough road game. That's pretty much all I know, though.
We never really dove into the men's basketball schedule.
What you got? I didn't ask your thoughts on it. What are your thoughts on it?
I honestly think that we kind of have it not too bad.
I think that, like what Will said, it's front-loaded. But it's also, easily like Tennessee should still.
Our bye week, I think, sets us up at a pretty nice time.
Where's the bye week at?
We'll say sometime in January.
And you think that sets us up well?
I was trying to pull it up here, but then you asked me that immediately, and then
How would January set us up well? How would that set us up well, Bubba?
It's probably not January, John.
It is January. We have a bye week, and it does kind of set us up well. So maybe I owe you an apology. If by set us up well, you just mean we play Kentucky on January 17th on Saturday, and then we get a full week off before we head down to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama. So
that's exactly what I meant, John.
If you think that sets us up well by like having a full week of playing, of not playing, of being able to game plan for Alabama, then sure. I'd like to see. Has anybody done a dive? Maybe I should text Will and be like, hey, here's a good idea for you. Has anybody done a breakdown on like what SEC teams' records were after the bye? Because the SEC bye week, that's a new concept. I'd like to know how that went last year. Did Tennessee win after their bye week? Did that help us? Did it hurt us? I don't even really remember. Do you? When was our bye week last year?
Wasn't it Auburn?
Was it Auburn? I'm asking. It wasn't Auburn. No, we played Mississippi State on Tuesday, and we played Auburn on January 25th. I'm looking here. Ours was kind of lame. It was Vanderbilt, and then we got a bye week, and we played at Texas A&M. Although we did win, and we did look pretty good after it, so maybe it did help us. Because we looked good in that Texas A&M game. We kind of beat their ass, I feel like. Kind of led the whole time, if I remember correctly, or at least most of the second half. So yeah, okay, I do like your takeaway there, Bubba. The bye week is nicely set up. You play Kentucky, you get a full week to prepare to go on the road to play Alabama. My friends were actually talking about trying to go to that game. Go check out Stegman. See what the boys look like. No, is that Stegman? No, that's not Stegman. Stegman's Georgia, right? Yeah, what is Alabama? Never mind. Any other thoughts of the schedule? You start with at Arkansas. You get Texas after that. At Florida. It's like your first two weekend games are at Arkansas, at Florida. That's pretty tough. And then you get home against Kentucky on the weekend. At Alabama. Like it does feel like I don't know how intentional it was, but like it does feel like all of Tennessee's big games are on Saturdays. Like if you go through and look at the schedule, that was my takeaway is that like, again, I don't know if it was intentional. If they're like, hey, most of these eyeballs, let's put our big marquee teams, our big marquee matchups on Saturday because people have all day. But like our weekend games, I'm just going to read the Saturday games. At Arkansas, at Florida, Kentucky, at Alabama, Auburn, at Kentucky, LSU, at Vandy, Alabama, Vandy. All right, those are most of your marquee games. I know LSU snuck in there, and the Vandy games, but like here are your midweek SEC games: Texas A&M, at Georgia, Ole Miss, at Mississippi State, Oklahoma, at Missouri, at South Carolina.
There's a lot of ads there.
Yeah, there are a lot of ads there. That is true. We are on the road a lot during those midweek games, which you could argue about whether or not that's a benefit. Having the short travel. Assuming you play on Saturday, then having to turn around and play on Tuesday or Wednesday. We could argue about that, but like no real programs that stand out though, right? None of those programs were any damn good, really. I mean, Texas A&M, fine, whatever, but like, you didn't play none of the top teams. You ain't playing Florida. You ain't playing Alabama. You ain't playing Kentucky. You ain't playing Auburn in the middle of the week. All those are weekend games. That feels new. It feels like it has to be intentional. There's no way that's all randomized, right?
Maybe somebody out there is looking down.
That if you can make it to Valentine's Day and still be in the mix for an SEC championship, Valentine's Day, you get LSU at home, Oklahoma at Vandy, at Missouri, Alabama at South Carolina, Vandy. Like, that's pretty good. And even if you I don't know if Mississippi State's supposed to be damn good this year, but they're your road trip on February 11th. So like after the Kentucky game at Rupp, Mississippi State, LSU, Oklahoma, Vandy, Missouri, Alabama, South Carolina, Vandy. Like those are a lot of the teams that you would want to play, and then of course Alabama, but you get them at home, and you've dominated Nate Oates. That seems pretty good when it comes to scheduling. That seems pretty good. Let's talk with Jesse Simonton, do a little SEC football discussion coming up after the break. Stick with us. It's Talk Sports on FanRun Radio.
Big Orange Country's home for sports. This is FanRun Radio.
We really need to get some branded stuff. Shirts, hats, promo items, something professional.
I mean, we could just find a website and order a bunch of it ourselves.
You could, but you're taking a big risk. You don't know the quality, the fit, the timeline. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I guess. But isn't that how everyone does it now?
Not the ones who actually care about how their brand looks. Look, if we're putting our name on it, it needs to be done right. We need SM Athletics.
SM Athletics?
Yeah. They specialize in working with businesses like ours. Apparel, hats, promo gear, but real, customized stuff. They actually care if it turns out right.
Probably a lot better than getting stuck with 100 t-shirts with crooked logos.
Exactly. Plus, they'll walk you through everything. Sizing, colors, material, so it matches the image we're trying to build.
Makes sense. What's the name again?
SM Athletics. Trust me, if you want to look like a real company, not a flea market stand, this is the move. If you're serious about your brand, work with people who are serious about getting it right. SM Athletics.
In a world filled with deadlines and screens, sometimes we forget the simple joys of life, days filled with special moments. At Inward Half, we understand the essence of these moments. Feel the difference between our breathable fabrics and flexible apparel as you disconnect from the hustle and bustle and reconnect with what truly matters. Inward Half. Simple luxury for on and off the course.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
Are you looking for a treat that will knock it out of the park at the next watch party? Just like your favorite baseball team, Crumble brings the best lineup week to week with an expanded roster that includes key lime pie, strawberry cake, or my personal favorite, Monster featuring M&M candies. Let Crumble treat you to the best cookies in the game. Download the Crumble app and start earning rewards. You can even vote monthly on what flavors you would like to see at any store of your choice. Warmer weather is here, so get to the ballpark, but don't miss the cookies.
Hey there, everybody. My name is Linda, and Talk Sports is my favorite radio show because them boys give me what I need. They don't pull any punches. They tell it like it is, and they're so funny. John's voice is sexy, and Cody reminds me so much of my late brother Donnie. It just warms my heart. Listen from 7 to 10 every weekday here on FanRun Radio.
Talking some SEC football. John Reed, Jesse Simonton. Take two. What's up, Jesse? How you doing, brother?
Hey, man. What's running back?
Let's do it. I am slowly getting into football mode. It always creeps up on me. I try to pace myself. A lot of people think like SEC media days, like practice. That's whenever like, hey, football season's here. Yeah. But then it still kind of drags, and you kind of start like having to deal with the same recycled topics. So years ago, I learned you got to pace yourself. You can't go too hard just when the clock turns to August. So I'm working my way up, though. I'm getting into preseason mode.
Yeah, you got to. It's turning those muscles back into shape. That's what it is. You can't go back. You can't go to the gym and just start maxing out every day on the bench or deadlift. If you've taken off 6 months, you got to kind of slowly ease back into it. Otherwise, you're just inhaling cigarettes, and it's going to be a tough night.
It's a good comparison. Whenever the teams get back out there for camp, that they go a couple days without pads on to get ready, get used to the heat. Question comes from Tech. He wants us to play a little rapid fire for SEC coaches and their ultimate fate: retired, fired, or hired. Which I kind of feel like when you say ultimate fate, almost everybody gets fired eventually, right? Like almost everybody gets showed the door. So maybe instead of ultimate, let's just say, the next 4 years, and instead of retired, we'll say, still at the school, or we'll say still at the school instead of retired, because I don't think there's any SEC coaches outside of Saban, who of course is gone, who is a retirement risk right now, right? I mean, maybe Kirby, if he won 3 national championships, he'd say goodbye. But there's nobody with one foot out the door. It doesn't feel like, right?
Yeah, if we're sticking this into the next 4 or 5 years, I would say nobody. If you're going further than 5, I could absolutely see Kirby being a guy who, he burns the candle so hard that I could see him retiring early. Because I don't think Kirby's going to go coach anywhere else, and he's never at risk of getting fired.
Right. I really thought for a second that he might be tempted by the NFL. I did think that maybe the Falcons or Jaguars job down there maybe would have appealed to him, that he might have had that itch, but yeah, it doesn't seem like he has that at all. So like you said, 4 years, not going anywhere. 7 years though, 8 years, I could see Kirby being done by then.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we were just talking about Oklahoma. Let's start with them. Brent Venables over the next 4 years.
I don't know
by someone else or staying home.
I don't know if the man's making it past this next season. So I believe he will be fired. I believe he will get the Will Muschamp resuscitation bounce, though, because he is well liked in the industry. That it may not be another P4 program right away, but I do think he'll probably be a head coach again. But I think he's ultimately going to get fired at Oklahoma.
Lane Kiffin.
Move on to another Power 4 job.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I know that folks around him say that he's at peace now. That Auburn deal was real. He wanted to go to Auburn. It just, the finances and that kind of stuff just didn't kind of work itself out. And so would you be stunned if Lane Kiffin was the head coach at USC again in 4 years?
At USC, yes. Yes, I would be stunned. I think it's more likely he'd be hired at Alabama than USC, just to be honest. Maybe that's a bad take, but I feel like the people...
Alabama's a great choice. That's a great choice. What about Miami? The man loves to be on a boat,
Yeah.
I think he'll be another job.
Yeah, I mean, if I guess I just figured since Miami chased Cristobal for so long, they wouldn't fire him anytime soon, but I know you're calling him a fraud, so maybe it goes sideways. I mean, hell, even Florida, I guess, if Billy Napier gets fired, I would imagine they'd be at least somewhat interested in talking to Lane Kiffin. So, okay, I think I would pick he's still at Mississippi because the chips haven't fallen early enough in the process for him to get that next job that eventually you just plant your roots and you stay and you become just the Mississippi guy. And I think that's maybe where he's at right now. It'll be interesting to see. I don't think he gets fired, though. I think he's got a pretty cushy gig.
They'll build Kiffin a statue if he takes him to the playoff. But but the man still likes to get cut a fresh check. So
yeah,
he's had a wandering eye for a long time.
Shane Beamer
fired, and I say that because history basically says if you go to South Carolina, you got hired to get fired. I don't have the exact statistics right in front of me. Folks can do their own Googling, but I believe basically since World War II, they've had 1 or 2 coaches ever get hired there and then move on to another job. obviously the SEC, the dynamics there aren't that many programs and jobs that are better than South Carolina, and yet it's still basically a fringe top 20 job because you are so low down the totem pole of the SEC. Shane's not going to leave, but I do think Shane, as he talked about it pretty candidly in this docuseries, he thought he was on the risk of getting fired a year ago. So we're talking the next, 3 to 5 years. I think Shane Beamer is going to get fired.
I definitely think he was on the hot seat last year going into it. Like, I do think he was very close to getting fired. It's crazy how quickly he kind of changed his status there. But I do feel like one good season at South Carolina kind of resets the clock, like an extra 2 years versus what other SEC fan bases allow. So if it's 4 years, I'd say Beamer's probably still there, but he'd probably be going into that fourth year like on the really, really hottest seat that you could have.
I just think that there's so much coaching turnover these days, John, that, the carousel just never stops spinning. I just think the shelf life for 4 years is a hell of a long time.
Yeah.
So as well as Shane Beamer, did do this past season, he's also just, like we said, 18 months removed from thinking that the guillotine was coming down on his neck anyways.
Mark Stoops.
Retired. I don't think people understand how much money Mark Stoops, A, has made just from coaching, and B, is also sitting on a pile of money because basically he's been investing in bourbon for the last X amount of years up in Kentucky. And so that man he's loaded. I think if Kirk Ferentz, retired from Iowa this fall, and that job opened where Stoops could maybe make kind of a lateral transition and go back to his alma mater and do that, maybe it would be retire at Kentucky or leave Kentucky. But for now, I'll just say retire.
Yeah, I thought when Kirk got in all that trouble, or we thought he was heading into trouble with the way he was treating, or was accused of treating his black players, that maybe he was headed out.
That got buried fast, huh?
Yeah, I thought he was headed out and that Stoops would take that job, but here we are, 3-4 years later, and no one cares about it at Iowa anymore, and Stoops, doesn't have as bright of a name as he did a couple years ago when he, was in the mix for Florida State and even A&M last year. I don't know if another school besides Iowa would want to come hire him away. Stoops, to me, feels a little bit like Philip Fulmer without the national championship and SEC titles at least. But at a school for a long time, they kind of get sick of him. He goes away and never gets another job again. It kind of feels like Stoops is. If it's not Iowa at this point, I think he would just be done coaching, like you said.
Yeah. Again, he's made a ton of money. He's made a ton of money.
I didn't know he had all that money in the bourbon business.
Oh yeah. And so that's and he's sitting on a nice investment there.
Josh Heupel.
This one's tough. I want you to go first on this one.
4 years, I think. All right, let's just go through this. I think the only school that would be a threat to hire him away would be Oklahoma. But the way people talk about it is that there's still too much bad blood there between the way Josh Heupel feels about Oklahoma and the way that he was kind of treated, being the scapegoat, for baby Stoops all those years ago. So, I don't know if Oklahoma called, if he would want to go home. But would you agree that that'd be the only hire away threat for Tennessee?
I definitely agree that'd be the only hire threat, although I don't think Oklahoma really is a threat. I do think the blood is bad enough there. I think for as long as Bob Stoops is involved with that OU program, and the fact that Joe Constiglione, their longtime AD, is retiring this year, there's kind of a power vacuum there. Stoops isn't going to be the AD, but I think he's going to be able to kind of swing an even bigger stick kind of around that program behind the scenes. I just don't think Heupel wants anything to do with that. So if they're off the board, then I think it's pretty much either retire or fire. I don't think he's going to retire. So
I think he would. Again, if we're just looking at the next 4 years, it would have to go really sideways for him to burn up all his goodwill. Now, you said it, 4 years is a hell of a long time. but like the only, I think, failing grade for the majority of the Tennessee fan base is, starts at 7-5 this year. 8-4, I think people would be pretty content with, especially if it's because the quarterback play isn't good enough, because I think a lot of people will give him a pass for that based on what happened with, Nico. Now, you could also counter if you're looking to be negative and say, should we be looking at that as an anomaly, or should we be looking at like, hey, maybe Hendon Hooker's the anomaly, and that, the Aguilar or Merklinger would be the third straight quarterback that underperformed with Josh Heupel in this offense. That would be what the detractors would say. But again, to get the ball rolling on this, you'd have to go at least 7-5 or worse to get people upset this year. If he doesn't do that, next year that would maybe go to 8-4. It would maybe be a little unacceptable, but then you'd have to really slip to like the 7-5 and 6-6 level before he would get fired in 4 years. And I just don't see that path for things getting that bad at Tennessee. I do think the recruiting has been too good for him when it comes, being compared to the other mid-tier teams. Like Kentucky's not closing ground on him. Missouri's not closing ground on him. You could say South Carolina maybe is, but, I don't know. I feel like Tennessee's closing the gap between them and Alabama more so than like South Carolina is to Tennessee, or at least at an equal part. So I would say retire, of course, / stay home is where I would ultimately lean.
Yeah, I think it would probably as you just kind of outlined it there, and just thinking, with your commentary, I mean, they would have to run. Tennessee would have to run like 4 straight 7-5 seasons, I think, for them to kind of roll him out. I think he is so attached to the hip of Danny White. Now, if Danny White leaves Tennessee, if they have a power vacuum there at the AD position, does that create some turbulence potentially? But that's going far too down the rabbit hole for what this question's asking. So we'll say stay / retire. Yeah,
and it also seems like Danny White, if you did that for him, like he's got no reason to leave Tennessee. He's a king here, and he's really trying to prop up that whole everything school. And I do think there's very, very few schools that could come close to making him look as good as an AD in terms of being good at every sport. So I think those two would still both be here in 4 years. Any other coach you want to get on record that I didn't mention? I don't want to go through all 16, but is there anybody you find?
Yeah, I mean, well, Drink, I would say fired, just because, again, I just think that's what history would say. I think the surprising one here, because you mentioned him, and I do think that he's a guy who legitimately should be on some hot seat lists, is one Mr. Brian Kelly. And I'm going to say retire. I'm going to say not fired.
Really?
I'm going to say that in one of the next 4 years, LSU wins a national championship and he retires.
Well, okay, that's a pretty good prediction. I wasn't expecting that. Now, on one hand, everybody's won a championship at LSU, it feels like, since the 2000s. Like, every coach has gotten it done, and there's been a lot dumber coaches. Looking at, Orgeron and Les Miles. Yeah. Both those guys dumber than Brian Kelly, but also those guys felt they felt immune to pressure. And Brian Kelly feels the opposite of immune to pressure. Like, Les Miles is eating grass. Ed Orgeron's chugging Red Bull. Neither one really knew what the hell was going on. I think Brian Kelly is the opposite. I think he's too painfully aware of all the pressure and everything going on. And that's why you see his teams choke at LSU.
Hey, you're not wrong. But, hey, man, the clock strikes 12 twice. So I think eventually the clock's going to hit it right.
Okay. I like that prediction. All right, one more question I lied on the way out. Nathan wants to know, do you think the SEC and Big Ten are heading towards an inevitable non-NCAA football league where they can do whatever rules they want? I know this has been the big talk the last 3 or 4 years. It kind of slowed down, came to a screeching halt. We haven't really been talking about that too much lately, but it's always just one bad move away from the NCAA before it all comes crashing down again. Do you think we're ultimately headed to the SEC and Big Ten starting a NFL junior?
Like the AFC, NFC? Yeah.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I do. And it will not be exclusive, I don't think, just to those two conferences, but it will be a super conference that also includes the likes of Miami, Clemson, Florida State. I think your mark out in the Big 12 is doing his damnedest to make sure that, his league doesn't get left in the dust, which is why he, on the one hand, basically, I think is almost self-sabotaging his own league because he can't actually admit that, the stupid 4-2-2 whatever playoff model that they should deserve just two, guaranteed playoff spots, because if he says that out loud, then he is admitting that his conference is in fact a weaker conference. And so the fact that he seems to be semi-teaming up with the SEC for, this 5-11, at-large teams is crazy, but that's just kind of where we are. I do think this is maybe something that's, 5-10 years down the road, but it certainly seems like thinking that the boulder is not being pushed uphill otherwise is just insane. I mean, that thing's rolling down and headed towards this at a seemingly faster pace, I think, every offseason.
Yeah, it's a real catch-22 for the Big 12. They need to admit they're inferior and just take the deal, but taking the deal is them admitting they're inferior and makes the SEC and Big 10 not want to be involved with them. It is a catch-22. All right, Jesse, enjoyed the conversation. If you want to get some questions in for next week, just feel free to tweet Jesse or tweet myself, or you can DM us, send us your questions. We'll do it again next week if the people want it, if the people like it. Anything you want to get off your chest before we go?
No, man, I'm good. The season's getting here fast. I'm ready for it. Like you said, we've kind of done the early shells. Now we're putting on the pads, getting the helmets lathered up, and let's get going.
Do you have any intel at all on Tennessee? Anybody you're talking to behind the scenes about the quarterback battle? Because it does seem after 1 week that this is the first true quarterback battle that Tennessee's had in a long, long time to see who's going to get any starting reps. Do you have any insight there?
So I have not talked to anyone yet about that. I'm someone that now that I've been kind of removed from it, I think letting basically through that first scrimmage is when you can actually start to kind of, I think, really calibrate takes. So let's see how this first scrimmage goes, and then let's see. And I think that would be a great jumping off point maybe for next week for you and I to lead with that, and then kind of discuss the upside of, if it is a true battle, do you go with Aguilar because you're trying to get back to the playoff and you think he provides a better floor, or do you roll with the young kid and some of the mistakes because he's going to be around potentially for more than one season?
But then, is that even a good thing, having him around more than one season? Does it scare off your number one quarterback, Faison Brandon, from the next class? Like, it's an interesting dance that Josh Heupel and the team has to do. So, yeah, we'll talk about that next week. Jesse, appreciate you, brother. Talk to you then.
Yeah, man.
You're listening to FanRun Radio, the Sports Humans. Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the Volunteer State. Smoked daily by Pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
Airlines have just reduced their prices even more. Book 30 days in advance and save big.
Want the absolute lowest prices on your airline tickets? Then call the Low Cost Airlines Travel Hotline right now. For prices so low, we can't publish them anywhere. The only way to access our low rates and save up to 70% is to call. Save hundreds on your vacation tickets by calling right now. You can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-631-1754. 800-631-1754. 800-631-1754. That's 800-631-1754.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
The Drive with Russell Smith. Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6.
Join us weekday afternoons here on FanRun Radio. We'll be discussing all the latest Tennessee football, basketball, and baseball news with expert analysis from special guests along with your phone calls. It's The Drive, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6, right here on FanRun Radio.
Flagship station for Tennessee fans.
Last call here on the program. Shout out to you, Bubba. Thanks for holding it down with me over the last 2 days. Shout out to Will Warren for joining the show in the second hour. Shout out to Jesse Simonton. We got a full discussion and YouTube video going up on FanRun TV. Go like, subscribe, follow along with the YouTube page. Got about an hour discussion. Jesse and I talking all things SEC. So if you liked that clip there's more where that came from. It should be posted around lunch today, maybe by 11 o'clock. Give you a little content if you want to go watch along again. FanRun TV, it's growing. It's growing. I'd like about another 100 subscribers by the time football season rolled around. That was the goal I set for the station as we try to grow there. Certain benchmarks I wanted to hit on each platform. I need about 100 more subscribers over on YouTube. Got a month to do it. Just see the big news, Bubba? Just see the news? Jermod McCoy, preseason All-American, on the practice field. Not a full participant in practice, Bubba, but on the practice field wearing a helmet.
Oh. Pique my interest, why don't you?
7 months after his ACL tear, he's on the practice field. Like I think there's a 0% chance he's out on the scrimmage field tomorrow. But the fact he's ramping up.
No, he'll be out on the field. He just won't be playing.
Yeah. He'll be there somewhere watching. But, you got basically just over a month to get ready for Georgia. That is the goal. Or that is the hope. Is that you can have him out there for Georgia. Jermod's goal might be to be ready for week 1, knowing him and what type of competitor he is. He might just want to be out there ready to go for Syracuse. But if I'm Josh Heupel and I'm the coaching staff, in the back of my mind, I'm like, hey, if we can have him ready to go for Georgia, that'd be great. That's really what we care about. Are you surprised, Bubba, that the longer that the offseason's gone, Tennessee's actually gotten more favored over Syracuse? I kind of thought that line would go the opposite direction, and we'd end up somewhere around like -11 or so. But last I checked yesterday, Tennessee was -14.5. It's gone up a little bit.
You know, I'd say without a definitive starting quarterback, a little bit. But also, it is interesting because it's like, you know, the news of McCoy has been out for a while, right? It's been a lot of months, 7. So you take that into account, but then it's just, yeah, I don't have an answer for you. Especially when to like try to not poach, but you know, maybe they looked at Stephen Jelly, who went up under Syracuse.
Which I will say, Bubba, just to be, cover our bases here. Syracuse apparently got a quarterback battle too. Like there is no established starting quarterback at Syracuse. Apparently their camp isn't going well. They're dealing with some problems up there too. So maybe that's part of the reason. Syracuse got a quarterback battle going on just like we do. So maybe that is why. All right, fire up, Freak of the Week. It is time for the fourth edition of Freak of the Week. Have you got your T-shirt design done yet? Have you gotten that mapped out?
I have not.
Okay, well, you still got time.
I've got like 3 months.
Yeah, you got a couple months. You know, it's an 8 to 16 week fulfillment on these shirts for the Freaks of the Week, but it's still important to win. Hit the music. All right, Freak of the Week. It was on the line yesterday in our Tennessee trivia. Shout out to everybody who participated on YouTube. I reviewed the footage. I went through, I tallied it up, and I came up with my Freak of the Week. Bubba, do you want to do the honors? Or do you want me to do the honors? Okay, I'll do the honors. The honors for this week's Freak of the Week goes to Chase Smith. As I was looking at his screenshots, trying to figure out who the Freak of the Week would be from trivia, it hit me. A, Bubba said he thought he was the winner. That's fine. That didn't really sway me too much, but a little bit. But B, it hit me, Bubba, that someone that had the wherewithal to do all the screenshots for us to make sure that we ran a proper competition, that is Freak of the Week material. That is putting the show and our success number one. And that's what we want from our fans. People that always help us and look out for us. That is what truly makes you Freak of the Week material. Shout out to everybody that participated in trivia. Good job, good effort. Maybe we'll run that back again this week to give you guys a chance to have a real competition. We'll do a better job judging it and grading it this upcoming week. But for now, for week 4, Chase Smith, you are the Freak of the Week. Thank you for putting the show first and thinking about the screenshots to try to make my life and my job easier. That's the type of fans we need.
Maybe next week it'll be them versus Cody.
Possibly.
But wait, that just means Cody would have to come back on Friday, so just kidding.
Well, I mean, Cody had to be back on, he's supposed to be back by Thursday. We'll see.
I retract my statement.
Hopefully 5 business days was enough for him to be out, missing a whole week of shows. Hopefully that'll be enough. Hopefully he'll be back Thursday. But shout out to Chase. Bubba, only a couple minutes left. What did we miss this weekend? Anything? Or what did we miss heading into the weekend, I should say?
Heading into the weekend, we get some more NFL preseason games. We got the Little League World Series rolling on. I don't know if you saw this the other night, but there's a kid who they had a walk-off win, I think, versus Vermont. And he was, like, constantly swaying his bat, like the bunt to distract the batter, and they walked in the run.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I'd beam that kid.
I gotta be honest, man. I hate the Little League World Series. I'd rather watch the Savannah Bananas.
I love it. That's disgraceful to the game of baseball, but also not really. racing. Bill Murray's going to be the old Grand Marshal at Watkins Glen. I don't know why he's going all the way. Actually, that makes sense. New York. Just kidding. I forgot geography for a second, John.
It's all right, brother. It happens sometimes.
Baseball rolls on. We got the FedEx Cup happening. Scotty Scheffler won it last year. After one day, it looks like Ashke Bhatia is going to be the guy until he falls off and Scotty Scheffler just picks it up. And as far as other things happening, John, honestly, I don't know. Watch for some more adult women's toys happening during WNBA games because people really want to get across their Bitcoins. And
that's sad the way they're doing those
stuff.
women. That's sad. Got golf in Memphis, though.
Oh, I was walking in Memphis.
Well, they're playing some golf in Memphis. I was keeping up a little bit with that yesterday. Colin Morikawa put in a decent round, so I was kind of locked in watching him, although he bogeyed 18. I was keeping up with Memphis a little bit. Any plans this weekend?
Sleep.
Sleep?
Wake up.
To sleep would be best.
Watch sports.
I just can't afford to rest, though.
Use VIP play.
Yeah?
And who knows where the world takes me.
I still got a little money in my pocket from Vegas, so I was thinking about maybe riding up, shoot some dice at the casino. I still got the itch.
I've been getting into MMA betting recently.
Yeah?
So I'm testing myself there a little bit.
Is there a big fight this weekend or
No,
a big
it's
card
just
this
a
weekend?
standard fight night.
Okay. Send me your winners. Send me your best bets.
Oh, I don't know about all that because they're not really winning.
Have some damn confidence. Send me your best bets. I want to ride with you, Bubba. I want to ride. Good job by you. See you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Under review, Bob Baskerville, Sam Beard. Coming up next.
Whether you are buying or selling a home, or even looking for some land to build on and start a family, be sure to give Reed Emerson with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Heritage Group a shout. He is a longtime listener and supporter of FANRUN and has been serving the Mid-State for many years. Reed prides himself on his hassle-free and honest approach, and that's because he's not just chasing another commission. He wants what is best for his clients. Give Reed Emerson a call or text him today to get the process started. His number is 931-492-0418, or you can find him online at bhgheritagegroup.com.
Citizens National Bank.
We specialize in relationship banking. From your first car to your first home, a growing family, or a thriving business, C&B is here for you. If you're a customer, we thank you for placing your trust in us. If you're not already, we welcome you to become one today. Find out more at CNB.